So I was gonna sit down and I was trying to film this in the car and I was like, I was rambling a lot. So I was like, I'm just gonna sit down and refilm what I was gonna say. So I'm gonna try to film most of this right here before everybody gets home again. They should be home soon. Seen a video on how my job is going. So I work at the grocery store still. Currently, I've been there a year and a couple months, which is insane, mainly because I'm like, there's several times I was like, oh, this is not good. Like I want to I wanted to quit this job, but I didn't, and mainly because I have nowhere else to go right now, and I mean eventually someday I'm gonna find something that I'll enjoy better, but right now I'm just at the store checking people out. I've worked Halloween twice now. I work Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving. What I've learned, there's so many different stories. And I won't get into like, great. Some of them actually like hurt my feelings. I've cried twice in the whole entire year and a couple months I've been there, only twice. Unfortunately, I cried on the 8-hour shift days, which is, it's a lot. But I cried because, I mean, I don't like crying in public. I don't like crying anywhere outside of my own house because I find it embarrassing. But someone said something to me that was very upsetting, to the point that made me bawl my eyes out for 15 minutes with not taking a break. So you get people, I mean, that's like extreme, very awkward. I was talking to someone today, it was very awkward. So the manager's helping me, and then they get mad, or the customer gets frustrated, and then someone else butts in, and I'm like, so that's why it gets really awkward. I still take things personally. People's like, don't take things personally, don't take things personally, don't take things personally. Guess what I still do? I take things personally to the point, like, I won't cry, but I'll get really irritated and annoyed with this stuff. And then you get the very sweet, nice people, like, thanks for working, all that stuff, because, like, a lot of places right now are very low staffed, like most places are these days. But people like, thanks for working, thanks for coming in, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, one lady said, oh, I was working like a 7.5-hour shift that day. And I'm like, in the first hour of my shift, this lady comes through my line, checks out her groceries, handed her the flowers. Oh no, these flowers are for you. So that's like nice. When people get like mad is when they have to switch lines. Like, I've definitely shared with my family, relatives, everything like that. Anybody I know, I'll share it with, because it's so annoying. Do not get in the check stand if the light's off. Even if you see a person in the check stand, because most likely, this happens to me all the time, that someone will get in the line behind the last person you're helping out, because you could be going on break, you could be going on lunch, you could be going home. Break, lunch, home. Lunch break is like, at least here, we get a break, we get a lunch, and we get another break if we work so many hours. And then, or you go home. That's the time, so I leave the check stand. So you don't know where they're going. They could be going home after an 8-hour day, and someone like mad that they had to switch lines, but nobody knows you've been standing there for 8 hours or 2 hours. Like, usually, like, when it's like you go in, you work 2 hours, then you take your first break, and people like not in a rush, you're able to close the lane down completely and then come back 10 minutes later and then open it back up again. In my opinion, when people are in a rush and they come in at the busiest hour too. The busiest hour, just like the biggest chunk of day from like a rush could last from like the latest rush that I've worked was like 11 a.m. to like 5:30 p.m. Like that was like the leading up to the holidays, but usually the rest is like midday to right before dinner time. But I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? People go ballistic if they have to move lines, or is when people are in a rush. You know they're in a rush because they start talking to you when the person in front of them is still being helped. Meaning they'll start rolling their eyes, doing whatever they do to be rude. Well, I'm like, hey, I need to help this person. This person's not done. This person needs like a discount taken off, which is pretty easy to do, depending on what it is. So most discounts are easy to do right then and there, and people get irritated about that, so it takes a little bit longer. And then I have to tell people every time, like during the holidays and stuff, gift cards themselves take longer. And after I know they're in a rush, then I get to them, and then automatically I start moving slower because I know they're in a rush, and it stresses me out. That's the stress portion of the work day. It's like if you know they're when people are in a bad mood. You'll just know. Even if they don't talk to you, you know they're in a bad mood. Which is fine because sometimes I'll talk to people like, hey, how's it going? If they don't, I try for them to, if they don't initiate a conversation, I won't start talking to them. I learned that pretty early on. But, I don't know. And I also don't like to stand there being completely dead silent while I'm checking out the groceries. This lady went off on the person I was helping because they were late, and then the man snapped back at the lady verbally, just like, oh my god, guys, I don't understand. And that's when I get all not freaked out, just anxious and uncomfortable because there's people fighting in my line, and I can't really do anything. I was like, oh, that happened today, and it was like so annoying, and I can't get it out of my head because it was so annoying or irritating. So those are like, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. Like today I'm not working, tomorrow I'm not working, and then it's Friday. Friday is Christmas Eve, so today's Wednesday. I don't work tomorrow. Friday's Christmas Eve, and then Saturday's Christmas Day. So most people is like, thank you for working. I appreciate those comments. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for working. Then there's this person that picked me out, like, one of my favorite checkers, blah, 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 blah. I was like, thanks, I appreciate it. And then she was really, really like rude to me. Rude as in complicating, irritating. There's some regulars that people know, checkers know, that I'm like, it's this, they'll always give the checker a hard time, even though they're doing their job correctly. You get those people too. So, like, people, like, ask me, like, how long have you been here? And I'm like, it depends. Someone asked me, how long are you into your shift? I said, you're my first customer. To, how long do you have? Oh, I have like 2 hours left. Not that bad. Oh, I have 30 minutes left. Not that bad. I've been getting more as like, where are you in your shift? I said, I'm in the beginning of my shift. Are you close to being done? No, not even close. Are you halfway done? No, I wouldn't say halfway done either, because an 8-hour shift, like, you could be an hour 2 and still have a long way to go, or hour 3, hour 4, whatever. I'm like, yeah, it's a long way to go. People like, I come in late afternoon to the evening when I work in the evenings. Those are hard shifts because you get the afternoon rush and then you get the slow evening all in one. You'll appreciate the rush if it's like a steady busy. For me, there's a steady busy, so that's good. There's a chaotic busy and stressful busy. That's 2. And there's the, oh, I'm super slow, like snail pace slow, snow. There's a slow, and then there's the snail pace slow. Those are different because it depends on, like, snail pace slow is like late in the evening, like nobody's coming through, and you get occasionally a person here and there with 1 check stand open or 2 check stands open if you need to. But I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, so yeah, so I worked any time of the day. But I put my start time to like 9 because the store does open at 6 and I live 20 minutes away from the store. So I'm like, I'm not going to get up 20 minutes early or 30, 40 minutes early to get to work at 6 a.m. No, that's not happening. That's not happening at all. So I'm like one of 3 checkers that are able to close at the moment. And that's always been like that. So there's one guy did, and there's another guy. There's another guy as in like people. Yeah. So that's, hopefully you got like an insight of my work day, and like that's how my work experience has been. Oh, one more thing. That's the end of this video, and this is going to be its own video. So